This is part 2 of a 2-part series where I'll be discussing every single major, new for 2021 roller coaster that we can anticipate opening this year. If you haven't already, go back and watch part 1 of this video before watching this one. Today we will be talking about every single new coaster that is currently unnamed or has a name that hasn't been released to the public yet. Funny enough, close to half of them are listed like this on RCDB, so I figured I'd make one video talking about the major coasters with the name and one video about those without one. A lot of the coasters we'll be talking today generally aren't spoken about much in the community because, simply put, they aren't known about too well. Either way, I wanted to share some information with you guys about some equally as interesting coasters as what was found in the last video. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Everyone that chooses to do so is greatly appreciated, and it contributes to my motivation to make videos like these. Now, without further ado, let's get the list started. First up on our list is also one of the coasters I'm most excited to learn more about, which is the humongous GCI wood coaster being built at Bollywood Parks, Dubai. From what we know, this coaster was originally going to be built for the now cancelled Six Flags Dubai, though correct me if I'm wrong on that. Originally, the wood coaster is going to be marketed as having more airtime than any other coaster on the planet, though something tells me that's a bit of an unrealistic goal. Perhaps it'll have the most airtime on a wood coaster though. I can see that being a possibility, though still would have to beat the Voyage, which is pretty substantial. Nonetheless, it will in fact have a ton of airtime either way, and the ride will be absolutely one of GCI's best. Also being built in the same park is a mock Power Splash, which will have an identical layout to the two in operation at Wallaby Belgium and Happy Valley Shenzhen. It's unknown whether or not this one will have a turntable loading station, but either way, it'll be a good way to cool off during a hot summer day in the Emirates. Spaceworld in Japan was one of the country's signature amusement parks before it closed in 2017. When the park was operational, they had several large-scale coasters, a couple of which we'll be talking about in this video, that'll be relocated to another park. The first of these is a Maurer custom looping coaster that'll open at a neighboring Japanese park that goes by the name of Himeji Central Park. This coaster went by the name of Venus GP. The ride generally looks like a ton of fun and was easily one of Maurer's best creations, so it's really good to see that Venus GP will be getting a new home at another theme park in Japan. The Vekoma Giant Inverted Boomerang at Mirabilandia in Brazil. This Mirabilandia, not to be confused with the popular theme park in Italy, will actually be a brand new theme park located in South America. Upon opening, the park is supposed to have two new roller coasters, both of which are huge rides. The first one is a relocated Giant Inverted Boomerang, which looks like an excellent coaster model. The second attraction is the rare Intamin 8 inversion model that as of now can only be found in Guatemala of all places. This will be a fantastic 1-2 punch for this park, and I look forward to hearing more about it. Now get ready for a lot of stuff from China, starting with the Vekoma Firestorm at World Fairytale Land, another new theme park set to open this year. Presumably, the park will open with 4 new coasters, but we only really know about 2 of them. The first one I wanted to talk about is one of Vekoma's amazing looking coaster models, the Firestorm. As of now, the only operational Firestorm coaster can be found in Vietnam, so to have more popping up is definitely a good thing. The layout of this ride looks to be loaded with fast transitioning and inversions, so I'm sure it'll be a slam dunk for this park. Another coaster they're looking to open this year is the world's first original 4D Freespin layout. I'm not exactly sure how to describe this coaster, but you're seeing it on screen right now and you can see how weird it looks. To be honest, I'm glad it'll be original, and like the others, I'm sure it'll provide a smooth and crazy ride experience. Another SNS coaster opening in China is an Aerolaunch coaster at Window of the World. These Aerolaunch coasters, especially the ones that can be found in this country, look absolutely incredible, and I'm sure this one will be no exception. It's said to feature multiple inversions, a length of 2,723 feet, a max height of 131 feet, and top speed of 62 miles per hour. The first ever Vekoma Shockwave coaster is going to be located at Dragon Valley Theme Park in China, and it's going to be one heck of a ride. I know we talked about the Vekoma Shockwave Plus going to Energylandia in the last video, which is basically an extended version, but the original layout looks almost as great, and I'm sure this will be a great marquee attraction for this new Chinese theme park. The Vacoma Top Gun is another new coaster model from the manufacturer, and we'll be seeing its debut this year at both Fantawel Ningbo and Fantawel Yangzhou in China. The compact nature of these layouts look absolutely astounding, and the elements look equally as impressive. Hot take, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Top Gun ends up being the best of the new Vekoma models this year, possibly even on par with the Shockwave and the Shockwave Plus. The Vekoma Hyper Spacewarp at Fantawel Tanyan in China will feature the exact same layout as Celestial Gauntlet and Flying Dragon at Oriental Heritage Shangsha and Oriental Legend, also in China. These look to be some of the best clones in the world and will be a great addition to either of these parks. The world's first Vekoma Renegade will be making its debut at Fantawel Taizhou in China, which looks to have a lot of RMC-inspired elements like wave turns, stalls, and other wonky elements. Not many enthusiasts are talking about this model because not many have even heard of it, but I think it'll absolutely be incredible and easily one of the best mega coasters in the entire world. Yes, the coaster you are looking at right now is real, and yes, it's a dive coaster knockoff. The Golden Horse dive coaster already exists at Great Singdong Tourist World in China, but soon there will be a second one in the same country at Yanji Dinosaur Kingdom. I have absolutely no clue what to think of this ride, but I'll leave the judgments that I have to myself. It looks like a very interesting coaster, we'll just leave it at that. The Vekoma Spacewarp being built at Fantawild Zhengzhou in China will be a replica of Formuła at Energylandia. Everyone who's ridden Formuła seems to love it, so I'm sure this will be a great addition. Despite it being one of the more tame next-gen Vekoma models, I still think it'll be a fantastic ride. Fuhua Amusement Park in China is adding 3 new coasters to their park next year, and all of them were notable enough to make it into this video. The first one is a Maurer Skyloop knockoff that'll hopefully ride just as well as the real versions. They are also looking at adding a dueling dragon style coaster from Beijing Chevrolet Amusement Equipment, similar to the one we discussed in the last video. And lastly, they'll be investing in a flying coaster that appears to be a knockoff of the Zamperla Valère. I'm sure the other 2 coasters they're getting will be good, but I'm very skeptical about this one. Nonetheless, it's good to see a bunch of Chinese theme parks investing so heavily into their parks this year. Moving over to the Philippines, there appears to be a new mock spinning coaster at Enchanted Kingdom that'll be of the family coaster size. Family spinning coasters are always fun rides, and I'm sure this will be no exception, but seeing an addition like this go to the Philippines is fascinating in itself to me. Zhejiang Fantawild Dinosaur Kingdom in China is another new theme park set to open this year with 3 roller coasters. 2 of them are substantial enough to talk about, so let's dig in. The first will be a Vekoma Energy Storm, quote-unquote, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the concept art shown on screen, it appears to be exactly the same as the Vekoma Spacewarp model. Nonetheless, any new Vekoma is a win in my book, so I'm sure it'll be a great ride for this park. Also, they are planning to get a family inverted coaster from the same manufacturer too. A lot of the new Vekoma inverts have been really fun rides, just like Dragon Flyer at Dollywood or Freedom Flyer at Funspot Orlando as an example, so this will be a great coaster to back up their larger Vekoma coaster. You may remember in the last video where we talked about Barracuda at Ocean Paradise in China. Well, in the same park, it looks like they'll be adding an Intamin spinning coaster too. It's unknown how extreme of a ride it'll be, but I'm hoping it's similar to Tornado in Denmark because that ride looks crazy. We actually don't know much about the status of this next park, but Hotgo Dream World has been standing but not operating for about a year and a half now, and along with that, we're in the middle of constructing 2 massive B&M coasters. Assuming construction on the park resumes in the near future, we can anticipate a B&M wing coaster identical to Heaven's Wing at HB World in the same country. If that wasn't exciting enough, there is an even larger B&M in the form of a hypercoaster that looks even better. Not only does the color scheme look beautiful on this ride, but the layout seems to be very exciting. Almost like a cross between your traditional out and back B&M hypercoaster, but with a Shambhala-like turnaround and series of bank turns as well. I hope these 2 coasters are able to open soon, particularly the hypercoaster, because it looks absolutely incredible. A coaster I'm certainly very intrigued of is the Intamin Impulse coaster opening at the all-new Chongqing Wanda theme park in China. This will be the manufacturer's first Impulse coaster in 17 years and will use their new track design. I'm surprised no one is talking about this coaster because it's said to be the new tallest invert in the world at nearly 230 feet. This is a coaster I just can't wait to hear more about. Next up, the RMC Raptor coaster going to Wildwater West in South Dakota. An announcement that shocked us all was that this little water park in Sioux Falls was looking to install a compact RMC, virtually identical to Wonder Woman or Railblazer at Six Flags Fiesta Texas or California's Great America. While construction progress is currently unknown, this will be a crazy addition to this tiny park. The Ice Age coaster at Skyworlds Malaysia is one that we know almost nothing about. We know it'll be built in and around a large mountain facade as seen in the concept art, but nothing else is really known about it. Universal Studios Beijing's mock Jurassic World inverted powered coaster should be pretty similar to Arthur at Europa Park. Not a ton is known about this ride either, but assuming it is pretty similar to the ride experience found on Arthur, it should be really well themed and generally a very enjoyable coaster. Lotte's Magic Forest in South Korea is going to be one of the country's new signature theme parks. The park will be impeccably well themed and best of all will feature 2 substantial coasters. The blue fire clone they're getting will be a heck of a lot of fun, so that along with their park's theming will already make it worth visiting by itself. Aside from the blue fire clone, they're also going to be getting a mock power splash coaster just like the one we already talked about going to Bollywood's Parks Dubai. Although these 2 coasters are clones, they are going to be some of the best out there, so I'm sure it'll make for a nice, well-rounded top 2 lineup. The UK's all-new Intamin 10 inversion coaster at Flamingoland will be quite the impressive ride. This will also be of the 2nd Gen 10 inversion coaster model, not 1st inversion like what could be found with Colossus at Thor Park in the same country. This means it'll be generally smoother, have better transitioning, more comfortable restraints, and several other small changes. I'm sure it'll be a great new coaster to add to the country's portfolio of rides and roller coasters. A coaster that we know hardly anything about is the B&M Wing Coaster going to Fantasy Valley in China. The ride will most likely have an original layout, but other than that, all we have to judge this coaster off of is the ride model, which fortunately is a pretty good one. Next up is the Vekoma Mine Train Coaster heading to Energylandia in Poland. This park has been on a real spending spree lately. Since they opened in 2014, they have constructed 17 coasters, and this will soon become the 18th. I'm not exactly sure what to expect out of this ride, but new Vekoma rocks, so it should be a pretty enjoyable family coaster. Ride Engineers Manufacturing is busy constructing a new rollerball coaster at a park in Germany that I won't even try to pronounce, but it'll be shown on screen here. The ride will be a clone of Wilde Hilde at Schwaben Park in the same country, which has gotten the reputation of being the chicken coaster because of its ridiculous theme and soundtrack. Whether or not this one will have any theming is unknown, but it'll sure be a unique and relatively fun ride. Visionland in China will be opening a Beijing Juha's motor coaster this year, which is a very odd looking ride. To be honest, the looks of it remind me of Test Track at Epcot, which isn't a coaster at all, so I find this to be pretty fascinating. Earlier in this video, I talked about how Venus GP at Space World would be finding a new home, but actually that isn't the only coaster there being saved. The Intamin accelerator coaster at Golden City in Russia will be was Zaturn. Zaturn was an acclaimed Intamin launch coaster similar to Stealth at Thor Park. Not only will the ride be great, but when it opens, it'll be the tallest coaster ever built in Russia at a whopping 205.3 feet. The Sunik chain based in China is once again looking to open a new theme park in the country. This one will be called Sunik Jinan, which will open with 3 new roller coasters. 2 of them we will be talking about today, with the first being a family spinning coaster by Nanfang Amusement Rides. Prior to making this video, I had never even heard about that manufacturer, and I'm just now realizing why. They've only ever made 2 other coasters, and neither of them are in operation anymore, so that's not a very good look. The more impressive coaster being constructed here is a large-scale Gravity Group wood coaster that looks absolutely amazing. Gravity Group always knocks it out of the park with their ride designs, and I'd be willing to bet that this one won't be an exception. To end things off, we're actually heading to Brazil to take a look at the relocated Chance Rides Toboggan coaster going to Parque dos Elefantes. This is a very rare coaster model, so it's quite fascinating to see one relocated here. Also, this park will open with 3 other coasters, but we don't really know much about the others. This is the only one I'm bothering to talk about in this video, since it seems to be the most interesting as well. It's a very strange ride going to a place not exactly known for their roller coasters. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed part 2 of this mini-series where I've covered every single major new for 2021 roller coaster we can anticipate riding later this year. As always, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. There's lots of awesome content coming that you guys definitely won't want to miss. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.